Hello everybody, today we are flying to New Orleans.
We are about to take off from Miami airport.
And off we go.
Next stop, New Orleans. And we're almost there.
Oh, New Orleans, city of music, history, culture. As we approach, the muddy waters of the Mississippi Delta welcome us to this unique American city. The mixture of French, Spanish, and African cultures makes it a very special place.
And we have arrived. Here's the great Louis Armstrong. There's some dude playing the piano back there, so you can tell we're in New Orleans.
On our way to the hotel, we pass by the Superdome in the Central Business District and the St. Louis Cemetery. By the way, we are here during Mardi Gras, the city's most notorious party.
Yeah, we're here at our lovely hotel, the Holiday Inn Superdome. And let's see if we can open the balcony overlooking some view of the downtown of New Orleans.
Actually, there is another part of the city called downtown, so Business District is the way to go when referring to this area. We walk a couple of blocks towards Bourbon Street in the French Quarter.
We finally made it to Bourbon Street. Hang out.
As you can tell, the greatest party in America has already started. Although at this time on Friday afternoon, it has more of a relaxed happy hour feel to it. We stop by the Monteleone Hotel, which was originally founded in 1886 and is the only high-rise building in the French Quarter. We quench our thirst at its famous carousel bar, and there is jazz music everywhere, even right here across the street. Time to try some hot sauce. We continue walking along the crowded streets of the French Quarter as we approach the Musical Legends Park.
We are here at the Musical Legends Park.
This park is located right across the street from the Royal Sonesta Hotel. And guess what? That hot sauce made me real thirsty. They have statues of many famous musicians, and of course, there's live music. Moving right along, you know it's all about catching some beads. The party gets rowdier by the minute as the abundant flow of alcohol and adrenaline make the desired effect. As you can see, the band has an impromptu director. More beads, human statues, and the site of the St. Louis Cathedral, which we will visit tomorrow, probably.
It's Mardi Gras, baby. Wow, it's Mardi.
So much fun. And this is only our first day. We decided to have a flight of beer, some alligator bites, and seafood cake at the Crescent City Brewhouse on Decatur Street. And again, more great jazz music. As the day comes to an end, Canal Street is bustling with activity as the Morpheus Parade is going by. And this is the first of many parades we expect to see during the next 3.5 days. The idea is to yell, "Throw me something, mister!" And you'll be rewarded with beads, doubloons, which are like large plastic coins, and cups and other souvenirs, but it's mostly about the beads. Lots of beads. And of course, there are many marching bands as well. It is Saturday, March 1st, 2014.
Hi, good morning everybody. We are walking on Canal Street, walking towards the French Quarter.
We go for a stroll along Decatur Street, passing by the Jackson Brewery, which is now a shopping center, and the mule seems to be quite fond of me. Anyway, they offer these tours on these mule-drawn carriages, very folkloric. We continue by Jackson Square, the St. Louis Cathedral in the back. This used to be called Plaza de Armas in Spanish times. We stop at Café du Monde to try the famous beignets, kind of like a French donut without the hole.
So good. And the keyword. False.
The secret I discover is to dip it in your café au lait. Kind of messy. The powdered sugar gets everywhere. Let's sweeten the coffee a little more. There's always a long line to have a breakfast here, beignets mainly, but they have quite an efficient system to accommodate people quickly. And more music at the front. The trumpet player is proudly demonstrating his circular breathing skills.
We just ate the famous vignette at the Café du Monde, and now we are walking towards the French market.
Next, we go to the Central Grocery in order to try the famous muffuletta sandwich, brought to New Orleans by Italian immigrants. Actually, muffuletta is the type of bread used with mozzarella, salami, ham, mortadella, provolone. Oh, but the secret sauce is the olive salad. Amazingly tasty.
Oh, by the way, that's Joan of Arc.
Yep, Joan of Arc, Maid of New Orleans. The French market has been here for a very long time, originally founded in 1791 as a Native American trading post. Then it was a meat market, and now it's a very touristy open market with different types of food.
Yeah, this is the French market. That's around.
And souvenirs as well. I'll get myself a t-shirt. At the end of the market, we encountered the facade of the old United States Mint, constructed in 1835, and it's nowadays a museum. And back at the heart of the French Quarter we are. Going back through Chartres Street, We pass by the old Ursuline Convent, the oldest building in the Mississippi River Valley, which is unfortunately closed due to Mardi Gras. Also by the Beauregard Kai's house and the Gallier house, both museums unfortunately also closed for the weekend. This is La Laurier Mansion. It is said to be haunted, like many other dwellings in the French Quarter.
Well, all our historical landmarks are closed. What do you do?
We arrive by the St. Louis Cathedral in front of Jackson Square. The street is full of artists, musicians of all ages, fortune tellers, and all that good stuff. Very touristy.
And that behind me is the St. Louis Cathedral.
The St. Louis Cathedral was built in a Spanish style, and it is considered a symbol of New Orleans. To the left, the Cabildo and the Pontalba apartments. Between the Cabildo and the Cathedral, there is this narrow street called the Pirates Alley. Time for a refreshing drink at the Pirates Alley Cafe, an old absinthe house. And guess what? We're going to have some absinthe. The drink is prepared by dripping iced water over a sugar cube into the spirit, and it was banned from 1914 until as recently as the 1990s. But don't worry, apparently it's okay to drink now. Walking over to the other side of the Jackson Brewery, we encountered the mighty Mississippi River. The Waldenburg Park extends along its shore. This is one of the famous streetcars, which we will ride later. Such friendly people. We pass by the fabulous Audubon Aquarium of the Americas, the Harrah's Casino, and have a beer at the Gordon Biersch, or a flight maybe. Even though we are getting tired, we walk along this picturesque area, and serendipitously, we stumble upon the Iris Parade, right at the end of its run. This is the oldest and largest all-female parade in New Orleans. Of course, this is the very end of the parade, so all these participants are just goofing around, probably very tired, exhausted from walking several miles already. Let's walk a few blocks up the street to see some of the action. We get to see the queen of the parade. You can tell some of these guys and girls are just running on fumes at this point. I mean, they've been walking for miles. But hey, we get to catch more beads and see a crew of Elvis impersonators, all of them shamelessly riding on scooter choppers. More beads, more fun. Bagpipers. More bands. And floats. And more marching bands. This is really quite awesome. I'm really enjoying this. You can tell we are in the musical mecca of the USA. Jazz, the great American art form, was invented here after all. We walk for another block on Poydras Street, which is getting ready for the fabulous Endymion parade. We're walking towards a famous Mother's restaurant. It's a greasy spoon with southern comfort food, according to Google. But it is the quintessential New Orleans joint. As you wait in line, you see the food being prepared. We went with the famous Ferdy's special po' boy sandwich, a seafood gumbo, and Jerry's jambalaya.
Seafood gumbo. Oh boy. Awesome.
Okay, it's time to go to St. Charles Avenue to see the Endymion parade. It is the largest one. You can tell they are really looking forward to this one. We pass by Lafayette Square, the Gallier Hall, and there's not an inch of sidewalk available to watch the parade. Obviously, some started early today. These are the traditional Mardi Gras ladders. Many have a seat bolted on top so the children don't miss any of the action. Of course, some adults use them too. You can tell people have been camping here since early today. We find a decent spot by Julia Street, a little setback but very convenient if we need to make a quick exit. After waiting for over an hour, we see the police truck and this Templar Knight-looking guy signaling the beginning of the parade. Endymion has some of the largest floats, and they usually have celebrities, and as you can see, the marching bands are oversized as well. And the floats, many of them have several segments in tandem. This year's celebrities are Norman Reedus from the popular TV series Walking Dead and Ian Somerhalder of The Vampire Diaries. It is a very long parade, so we're gonna call it a night.
New Orleans woke up hungover today.
It is Sunday, March 2nd, 2014. We have breakfast at the Desire, an oyster bar on Bourbon Street, a beautiful place located in the Royal Sonesta Hotel. The menu, jambalaya breakfast skillet and the Creole crab benedict. Delicious. We keep walking around the French Quarter in the morning and incredibly, by 10:30 a.m. the party is already getting started.
St. Louis Street.
We turn on St. Louis Street towards the Basin Street station, where we're going to take a tour of the famous St. Louis Cemetery. Originally a transportation hub, today the Basin Street station is little more than a nice, quaint museum and an information center. They have this model of the French Quarter as it was in the early 20th century. The staff is very helpful as well. From here we leave for the tour of the St. Louis Cemetery number 1, organized by SaveOurCemeteries.org. Our guide is a pleasant lady named Sabine. She is a virtual encyclopedia of New Orleans history, and judging by her age, you can tell she's had empirical knowledge of a good part of that history.
It dates from 1789. Now, I don't know whether you have cemeteries where you live older than that, but this is our pride.
We learn how the cemetery has been sinking, mostly due to floods.
Lime-based plaster. Lime-based plaster was officer of the National Urban League. Very important post for the Voodoo Queen.
The main attraction is the tomb of Marie Laveau, the Voodoo Queen.
And the only thing, don't put X's on this tomb because they are meaningless, we are told. X's do not mean anything, but the number 3 itself means that you use that to ask for a favor. So, and this open cross you see again and again here. Actually, they give people in the ground.
Sabine knows every bit of gossip of the lives of those interred here. And guess who owns this modern pyramid? Well, no other than actor Nicolas Cage. Apparently he intends to spend eternity among all this history. Well, to each his own.
It was built for the victim of the yellow fever. All the spaces were full. There is a shaft in the middle, and the remains would be put in there. Yeah, and
Besides her extensive historical knowledge, Sabine also gives us culinary advice.
You have to also taste king cake while you're here. Sometimes we forget very important dates about the civil rights, and this guy here and her nephew, a descendant of this person who is buried here. And also he became famous because, well, he was wealthy, he played drink. But here it's kind of every day. We like it because according to legend, it's just kind of empty. Well, those were the Protestants.
The back of the cemetery was reserved for the Protestants.
In 1795, what he did, he had a method, he invented a method to choir.
And I didn't know my family, the Morales, had a mausoleum here. I'm kidding, of course. The cemetery sits on Basin Street, once a great residential street and a red light district during the late 1800s. On North Rampart Street we encountered the Louis Armstrong Park, home of the famous annual Jazz Fest. Of course, there's a statue of the great Satchmo himself. Okay, it is almost time for us to go into the French Quarter, but first let's walk a little more here on Rampart Street. I hear there's an authentic voodoo temple nearby. By the entrance they have a bunch of artifacts, and in the back, Priestess Miriam is telling her life story. But unfortunately we don't have time to stay. Let's continue exploring the French Quarter. Next, we visit the oldest bar in the French Quarter, Lafitte's Blacksmith's Shop. Allegedly, it's the oldest structure used as a bar in the United States. We're back by Jackson Square and there are some young fellows playing. Not great, but the effort is appreciated. Next, we proceed to take the steamboat for a 2-hour cruise along the Mississippi River. Nothing says more New Orleans than the Mississippi River and a paddle boat tour. And here we are at a real one. All aboard! We look back towards the financial district and the Jackson Square. In the distance, we see the Jackson Barracks, the headquarters of the Louisiana National Guard, located in the lower 9th Ward. Inside the ship, there is a Sunday brunch going on, and the one thing that is ever present in this city: jazz music. Eventually, we turned back among all these cargo ships. As we return to shore, guess who's waiting to greet us? The same kids who were playing in front of the St. Louis Cathedral earlier. What's left to do? Well, party like it's 2014 at the French Quarter. let's have dinner at this famous, haunted and beautiful restaurant called the Court of Two Sisters. I ordered the turtle soup, later to find out it is actually made with alligators, since the turtle is an endangered species.
So we're here at the Court of Two Sisters and I'm having the catfish. And this stuff is delicious. Oh my god. You gotta try this. Salud.
After that wonderful dinner, we go back to Bourbon Street, and the party is getting wilder by the minute. We are going to call it a night before this turns into a lewd spectacle of debauchery. This is a family show after all. In the morning, we take a stroll along St. Charles Avenue. It is our intention to explore the Garden District further west. We pass once again by Lafayette Square, the second oldest park in New Orleans, with the statue of Henry Clay in the middle. And across the street, the Gallier Hall, the former City Hall. A little further down, St. Patrick's Church, the second oldest parish after the St. Louis Cathedral. People are starting to get ready for today's parades. We also pass by Emerald's restaurant near the Lee Circle. We are hoping to take the streetcar, but due to the parades, they are not running in this area. Eventually, we go back and take a bus further into the Garden District. And this area is a whole different story. What a beautiful neighborhood. It is considered one of the best preserved collections of historic Southern mansions anywhere. A few blocks further down, we encountered the Lafayette Cemetery. It was around here where famous writer Anne Rice got inspired to write so many great stories, such as Interview with the Vampire. Let's check out the cemetery while we're here. It is very similar to the St. Louis Cemetery, perhaps a little safer, better preserved, but we don't have a guide, so let's get out of here. On St. Charles Avenue, people are now really getting ready for today's parade, but this is somewhat different from what we've seen in the financial or warehouse districts. This has more of a family, residential feel to it. By the Toro Synagogue, we get these two flasks of wine to get in the mood. And one block further on Napoleon Avenue, the streetcars are running. These streetcars offer a beautiful ride through the Garden District. By the way, they are listed in the National Register of Historic Places, so they must be preserved the way they looked in 1923. Our car gets stuck while turning right on Coralton Avenue. Not enough momentum, I guess, but we have an expert conductor, and pretty soon we are on our way again. We get off by Oak Street. We wanted to go to this restaurant called Jack's Imus to eat a famous shrimp and alligator sausage cake they have, but unfortunately, the restaurant is closed, as it is pretty much everything else in this neighborhood.
So I guess we'll have our alligator cheesecake some other time.
We get back on the streetcar going in the opposite direction and we got off by Audubon Park. The park, which was originally the state of New Orleans' first mayor, Etienne de Boré, is now one of the city's great parks, with a golf course, many trails, the Audubon Zoo, and the bird rookery. It is very nice. I wish we had more time, but it's getting chilly and we want to go back to see the parade. As we go back to the St. Charles Avenue, we see the historic Loyola University, established by the Jesuits in 1904. We take the streetcar back to Napoleon Avenue, and the parade is already going. This, by the way, is the Bacchus Parade, which takes its name from the Greek god of wine and vegetation. This is the true spirit of Mardi Gras right here. Very few tourists, just families camping off the street and students catching beads and generally everybody having a great time.
We keep walking around right here on St. Charles Avenue.
As the sun comes down and the temperature drops below comfort levels, we start getting ready to go back to the hotel. I really wanted to experience the Orpheus Parade, which happens later tonight, but we're really exhausted. Our excitement for the rest of the night. This person who got run over on Rampart Street, fortunately nothing happened to him. And as our crazy neighbors defied the frigid temperatures inside the heated pool, I must content myself with watching the searchlights of the Orpheus Parade in the night sky. Happy Mardi Gras, everybody! It is Tuesday, March 4th, 2014, the day we've all been waiting for. Well, except for us, because this is our last day here at the Big Easy. Today we've got the Zulu and Rex parades right here on Canal Street. But first, let's check out the French Quarter. Yep, this guy is still here in front of the Monteleone, and everybody is out on the streets. No one cares about the persisting rain or the cold weather. It's all about wearing your finest costume and celebrating one of the greatest parties on earth, Mardi Gras.
As you can see, the weather does not want to cooperate, but we're still here.
It's like green berry, but it's not fun. Hey, look at the caterpillar. Just look at him. Some of the limbs are attached, some are not.
We joined this parade of people in costume following a band. Very folkloric. Makes me wish I had a costume. Before heading out to the airport, we enjoyed the Rex Parade taking place in Canal Street. And with that, we say goodbye to New Orleans for now. We will return someday for sure because this is a truly unique city. Worth repeating for sure. Please do remember to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our next destination. Until then, thank you so much for joining us in our 4-day escapade to experience Mardi Gras in New Orleans. As always, see you on the road.